That has kind of moved now, and we're going back much more into the self-reliance. You'll have seen the demand for allotments, people growing a lot more of their own products, not eating out as much, cooking at home. So you're probably thinking, well, from a tourism perspective, why would I be talking about this? But really, from our perspective, this is a huge inroads into that whole learn to market, as we call it. Visitors now want to be totally immersed in what they do. They want to experience it hand-on. It's not so much now where they go and take the photo, tick the box, done that and finished. It's that real touch, feel, smell, learn experience. So there's huge potential here around the whole area of cookery schools. There's huge potential here for producers to open up some of their facilities to visitors. Now, I'm not talking obviously all day, every day, because if a lot of them are small businesses, there'd be nobody actually producing the product. But it may be 2 to 4 on a Saturday afternoon. But just to allow that kind of visitor contact. The same with local groups getting together and organising food trails. Same way hotels, I mean, they could offer recipe cards, but just some ways that like, kind of people can actually have that self-reliance, but they want that whole learn to and experience side of it as well. Reviewing and re-evaluating. I mean, obviously, value has come up again and again and again this morning, and it is a huge issue for us. I mean, general satisfier figures are really good on quality of food and quality of service. We kind of up around that kind of high 70s. Obviously, there's always areas we want to improve on, but the value and the price for value number is down around 40%. The high-end establishments tend to do quite well, so it's kind of what Mark was talking about, that whole quality versus value. And I guess whenever I talk about value, I always preface it by saying perceived value, because people get too caught up in thinking value is only about price, and it's not. It's much, much more than that. I mean, today, like, people are evaluating, will I spend my money, will I go out, will I not? So the quality and standard of your product, if you like, just about keeps you in the game. But it's the experience that's really kind of going to set you ahead. And what are you doing that's making that experience different? And I know there's not a lot of operators in the room, and they're probably looking at me and saying, well, yeah, that's grand, but I've cut my costs back. I've really cut back on my staff. I'm running as tight as I can. And all I'd say is, I mean, I'm sure you are. I've worked with hundreds of businesses over the last couple of years, and I know it's tough. But it's just sometimes you kind of need to take a step back and start to measure it from the consumer or the visitor's criteria rather than the operator's criteria. Because as operators, we automatically think, oh, our margins and our staffing levels and costs, whereas the visitor looks at it totally differently, and they are looking for somewhere that's very welcoming, that they have selection of what they want, that they have flexibility in their menu. So there's kind of different criteria. So that whole re-evaluation and value